How's it going, guys?
Hey guys, I am James, and this is
Des.
That's Des. Oh, we complete each other's sentences. Aww. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about not only our future, but the future of Airsoft.
Just walk away.
Sadly, we can't restart live podcasts, right? That'd be funny. But yep, so today's show is actually going to be about the future of Airsoft. And this is going to it's very much so just kind of us spitballing ideas that maybe could improve, the community and the game itself, as well as what we kind of expect to see.
Where we see it going, where we hope it goes, things like that.
Yeah, it should be quite the interesting, thought-provoking podcast with tons of awesome points. Also, we just recorded a very cool video for you guys for later on for our product spotlight for our for our bullseye picks.
Yep.
That's what we call it. Yes,
I think so.
Yes.
I never remember. We do have an event coming up, though.
Yes, we do have an event coming up. This weekend. Sadly, Dan couldn't make it to tell us about it since he's one of the ones who's writing it. But I can actually tell you tons of great stuff about it. So this event is going to be called Operation War Games. It is this Sunday, and what it is not your typical game where everyone is at each other's throats all the time, like, oh, they killed you and your mother, and now you have to avenge them. It's not something like that. Like it's more so just a friendly training exercise. It's a training exercise of a training exercise. Call it that.
All right.
And it should be pretty cool. The four factions are United States, Britain, Russia, and Germany. And in specific, the different ones are, like the special forces groups, like we have the SEALs, Russia has Spetsnaz, the SAS for Britain, and the Germany, I don't know who their super cool guys are, but they're going to be there too. So show up with your favorite camo. Make sure you pre-register to save $5. Later on this week, that link will go dead and you will have to pay an extra $5. And there's a chance that you may not be able to play with your friends. So that's a huge one.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's a huge one. So you definitely don't want to forget about that. So make sure you guys come. It should be $30 if you pre-register online, and it'll be a great time. I've secured some really nice raffle items for you guys. Not going to tell you what, but stop by to check it out. Like always, we always have some fun guns and other things. Also, make sure to mute Google Chrome.
Working on that.
We're trying to avoid what happened last week, which was if you watched last week when we tried our hand at doing a live video with sound on the podcast.
Didn't come out the best.
As we speak over it, it was. We looked back and watched it afterwards, and we're just
cringed.
Much
cringe.
Oh my god! And it was like a solid 2 minutes of just feedback.
Well, my guy who's supposed to watch the chat and let me know if things are going bad.
Yeah, and it wasn't until you
had one job.
Yeah, right.
Also, I've reminded everyone to sign up. Just simply come over to our website. You'll see the click here for pre-register events. Click that button. You can fill out the little PayPal section to the left over here, and we'll get an email, and you'll be all registered and set up. So make sure you fill it out completely. If you leave things blank, then it's not going to work out so well.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to figure out who you are. On
that note, guys, one other thing I want to add is that unfortunately, Facebook and Instagram, being SoCal companies like that, they don't like us advertising much for Airsoft stuff.
We've been flagged.
Yeah, well,
Extreme Airsoft has...
We're selling Airsoft.
Yes. BB guns.
But if you could do us a huge favor, and when you see a post go up that you like, if you could just share it for us. If there's an event coming up and you want more people to go to it, if you share it, it'll help us out, and invite your friends and all that kind of stuff. It helps us out a ton. They literally won't let us won't let us, advertise.
Yeah, they won't let us promote.
We've
tried to pay Facebook hundreds of dollars to promote our events, and they've denied our business.
Oh man, it's real cloudy out there.
Oh yeah, it's real cloudy. It's a little hint for what's going on later on in the podcast. But yeah, so I always used to get so mad when people would be like, oh, make sure you like, and you can actually make it so that we show up first, and you'll even get a notification every time we post. And I always thought that was really annoying, because me being I voted Republican in this recent election, so I would follow conservative and other news groups or Facebook pages like that, and those pages as well were getting blacklisted by Facebook, and they were asking people to do the same, which is show up first, because Facebook was actually purposely denying them as many that post reach that they should be getting.
Yep, and to be clear, guys, all you have to do to have us show up first on your feed, if you're not seeing our stuff anymore, come over to following and click see first, and every time a post goes up, you won't get a notification per se, but it'll show up on your news feed, and that way it doesn't just get pushed out by the rest of everything else. Or if you really want to, you can even turn on notifications.
Yeah, make sure figure out about our latest deals. Actually coming up, I promise, guys, we're going to get onto the future of Airsoft. In the future of the show, we'll talk about the future. But we will actually be starting an email chain for you guys. So we're going to be starting to do monthly sales, weekly sales, and we'll be updating you guys via email. Once again, since Facebook has ruined all the fun and the ease of reaching the majority of our customers.
But like I said, all in all, if you could just do us a huge favor, and when you see a post that you like, just share it on through so more people can see it.
Yeah, we would super heart you for that.
Yeah, right? But thanks again. And moving on to today's topic. So like we said, we're going to start, we're going to talk about kind of like I said, where we see Airsoft going, where we kind of hope it goes, and kind of things that have happened recently that can kind of give us a little evidence where we expect it to go. And if we have enough time later in the show, we might talk a little bit about HPA systems. And if we don't have time, well, that'll just be next week's topic.
And trust me, that'll be an excellent one, because sitting right here are probably the two Polar Star and HPA authorities. Oh my god. Ooh.
I just looked at my the camera view.
I'd love to go outside and see what it looks like with that fan pumping out.
Fire department don't show up.
Yeah, right? We're dropping all the hints for what our product spotlight is going to be. But yeah, so you are right here sitting right here are the two basically authorities in the New England area on in specific Polar Star, myself being more experienced in other fields. Well, not more experience, but having the experience.
Oh, I'll admit to being a Polar Star fan.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Polar Star has done
it.
Polar Star has done it correct the entire time, and their product is bulletproof. But there are also a lot of other systems that I've tried out.
Yes.
So Daytona guns, others, the Bolt. Yes, a lot of Wolverine products, stuff like that. So it should be an interesting end of this podcast and or next podcast.
Right.
So make sure you stay tuned in for that.
But finally, getting on topic is, as always, I'll start it with what your thoughts are, James, on what have you kind of seen recently. Where do you think Airsoft's kind of going in the next? Let's talk. Let's talk short scale first, and maybe we'll go long scale after. And like the next, call it 1 to 5 years, 1 to 3 years, where you kind of
is the short scale?
Yeah. Where you see it going.
Okay. Well, within the 1 to 6 years, I really, the thing is, okay, so where I see it going is I do see a lot of these event runners are getting bigger. What I'm seeing is the events are getting bigger, but they're getting less frequent.
Right.
And that's something that's cool and all. Like, big events are really cool, but it also makes it hard for us who have adult schedules to go to these when there's only 3 chances a year to go to them. It really makes it hard. And even when I started, maybe it's just because I haven't been looking as hard, but I feel like, at least twice a month there were 2 national size games that was feasible for me to go to. Now it feels like every 4 months or every 3 months there's 1 national size game that's feasible for me to go to.
Close range and
I'm saying feasible, I'm talking like a 12-hour drive.
Right.
I'll drive to Chicago, I'll drive down to Florida.
Now, do you think that is because when there were almost call it too many events, they each saw crowds that were only maybe a maximum of 80 to 100 people. Now having them less frequently, they can do the big scale events because there's more people showing up. They can afford to rent out an old industrial plant. Like that. So it's
kind of like a trade-off, the more people, it's definitely the AO is more crowded. and then there's not a lot of room for tactical movement because every time you turn a
True,
corner, there's
true,
a
that
gun
is a
pointed
trade-off,
at you.
sorry. But you can have a cooler.
Yeah, but you can go to like a nuclear power plant,
Right.
or like or an old chemical facility. So it is definitely a trade-off. And to be honest, I don't really know the solution. This is just a pattern that I've seen. But it is. I am interested to see how that goes. I think that we could probably use one or two more big event runners in the United States. I would like to see maybe Insato really go out and venture out past the East Coast. I'd like to see him do some other things out there because I think that he has the following to do that.
I agree.
And if he can advertise and get a dope AO, like just past weekend, he had a prison that was being used by the United States. Operation.
Why he scheduled it on finals weekend.
Yes. Come on, every time
I'd say 50% of his clientele are college kids.
Exactly, and every time he posted about it, and I said, if you can make it past this week, I'll go and I'll bring 10 guys, like straight up. But he had to put it, and I'm sure there's his own reasons for not being able to do that. But I couldn't be able to make it. Yeah. And also on the same token, Op 34 out in Chicago was this past weekend. I
saw Fry went to that.
Yeah, Fry also, John from Z Shot went there as well. And I was watching videos of this, and a couple of my teammates were able to snag a couple extra tickets and go with some friends from out in the area. Nice. And I'm just watching them on Snapchat, and I just the jealousy is oozing out of my body. I'm like, I can't believe that they're eating Chicago deep dish pizza. Like the AO looked insane, and I'm just like, I have finals next week. But
that's a good life.
Yeah. But I think it would be excellent to really see maybe one or two more event runners come out. And I would love to see him more on the East Coast because the West Coast gets a lot of cool games. Like Lion Claws is pretty big out there. Milsom West dominates that area.
See, my only concern is there's so much tenacity in the airsoft industry when it comes to event runners. They always kind of want to diss each other or find, and that kind of needs to change.
Yeah,
it's literally one of those, the more the merrier.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's part of the issues I've seen with airsoft lately that I hope changes in the future. And I think it seems to be taking an upswing. It seems to be getting better. But the last couple of years, we've all seen the airsoft drama.
Oh yeah, and I'm not saying, and usually Milsom West is a part of it. I'm not saying he's the cause of it, or the effect of it. But a lot of the time, what I've seen is one event runner will do something that's maybe not morally correct, and then Milsom West will come out and he'll just be like, "Fuck you," and he's Josh Warren. He's a cool guy, but he's very much so if you cross him, he'll just insult you and spit on you and all that other things. And hey, that's his style. Go him. It seems to be working for him. He always pulls insane crowds out of his games, so it's hard to talk smack about him.
But if everyone were acting a little more,
I just wish that the whole Lion Claws thing, that was a little silly. Thankfully, Lion Claws is still around because it does suck when a company does something sucky, But then
for our podcast viewers, what's the exact Lion Claws? A short description.
Yeah, so a short description, and this is and this probably isn't going to be 100% correct, but this is the basic gist: is that a couple. Women had attended a Lion Claws game, and they say that they were sexually assaulted at that game. That they attended a Milsom West game, and they were sexually assaulted there. And then I guess if they traced it back to these women, they were actually somehow affiliated with Lion Claws. And there is the story goes much deeper than that, and I'm probably missing some very key details. But the basic thing was there were allegations of sexual assault at a Milsom West game, and it was tied to Lion Claws. And so Josh Warren immediately went out on the offensive about that. And John Liu from Lion Claws, Lion Claws got 2 stars on Facebook. It went from 4.5 to 2. Everything was just 0, 1 star, 0, 0, 0. And that sucks. But I just wish that maybe it would have just been handled privately first before going on blast in public. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I just feel like blasting people the second that something goes wrong is
publicly, and it just sets you up if you're wrong. It sets you up to ruin your business.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm all for calling out people for doing shitty things. Don't mess around with sexual assault. That's not cool. Don't cry rape. But
make sure you have the facts.
Yeah, make sure you have the facts first. And I would have been much more impressed if he came out and he said, "This is what happens. Here's the full story." And maybe he could end it with I wish that don't support their games, don't do this because these are the cold hard facts. But it was a developing story within the community. And then, I dropped off this story like
As
a
happens.
couple days,
Yeah.
After it had started, and so I didn't get to see the full resolution of everything. And it's always just one thing or another. It's very annoying.
Well, see, it kind of relates to where I kind of see things going, which it's a double-edged sword. So airsoft, it used to be anyone who's been in the hobby long enough knows that not 5-6 years ago, airsoft was this kind of like you did it in backwoods and there was these events, but you said you played airsoft to somebody and it was what's airsoft?
Yeah, right.
And you said it's like paintball, but not. And they'd be like, okay, why don't you play paintball?
Yeah. And then you tell them it's training with BB guns, and they're like, well, why don't you just train with the real guns?
So yeah, no, but now everyone knows what it is. It's become incredibly popular, and that's awesome.
It's hugely taken off.
That it's grown. I'm curious if it's grown faster than it can handle in a way, faster than... We're very fortunate in the Northeast. We have organizations like NIASC.
Oh, and NIASC, and they stay out of it.
It's NIASC.
NIASC.
I don't care what the people who own it say.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. It's
but Gordon has done a fantastic job at just saying, like, this is my event, this is how I run things.
Well, not only that, is kind of like, we're very fortunate in the Northeast. There's kind of been a set rule standard that's been kind of broadcast through New England, and everyone kind of follows similar rules. However, you definitely find that other places, it's a lot more, it varies much more significantly.
Yeah.
And it's great to see airsoft grow so much. I'm just curious to see where it leads. And because, kind of like paintball has fallen by the wayside. And a lot of that has to do with big businesses like Falcon and, and Dye and all them.
Kind of holding like a monopoly on everything.
Kind of, yeah. And
but it's kind of like the shop local kind of argument.
Well, yeah, it turns paintball into a very corporate hobby.
Yes.
Which I think in the end led to a little bit of its downfall. And fortunately in airsoft, that it's gone a different route. That's not really happening, and I like to see that. But it's definitely, I think it leaves airsoft in a bit of a what do you call it? Like a climax. It can kind of go two very different ways at the moment.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
But it's definitely interesting. I hope that again, one of the great things we've seen as of late is a few years back. I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast. Is you have companies like Umarex who come into being. Where beforehand, 36 different companies made a G36.
Yeah.
And you got everything from KWA, who made the best. KWA and Ares, they were great. And then you had like Echo One and JG.
Echo One, SNT.
They were questionable at best.
Yeah. Questionable.
And you had companies like Umarex come along, and when a lot of laws passed, not that laws passed, but became more strict because airsoft grew.
Yeah.
We had things like copyright laws became actually being implemented.
Yeah.
Not just ignored as like whatever. It's a tiny little hobby no one cares about.
Yeah. Right.
So Umarex came along. They had the license to manufacture the guns, and they picked a couple of the best people out there. S&T is a sport line, which I agree with completely, and then Ares and KWA is the pro line models.
Yeah.
Which has worked pretty well, pretty fantastic, because then companies like Ares and S&T and KWA, they get more feedback from Umarex rather than from random customers around the country saying conflicting stuff. They get hard details like, this is broken in 22.6% of guns produced. It needs fixing, and that has helped immensely.
Yeah.
It's great to see the hobby going that way. But again, it's kind of pushing things more towards the corporate side.
Yeah, exactly. Like with the whole Evike and Crytek merger, not merger, but the whole distribution thing. Like I'll say it again. Crytek had an excellent opportunity, an excellent product, and if they expanded, their shipping and their customer service department, I think that they could have handled being probably one of the best airsoft. It's
not a cheap thing to do.
It's very expensive. I'm sure they paid someone a good amount of money to figure all that out too.
And we know firsthand that their supply chain can be very delayed.
Yes, yeah, and And I know it, but I'm just saying, like,
But no,
looking at the money side of everything, that was by far probably the best decision. However,
for them. I don't think for the end customers.
Exactly, but for the end customers and for the future of Airsoft, like we're talking about, I think that it was it was a sad move to see.
Yeah.
Because kind of like what I'm saying is, like what I said earlier about I'd like to see more event runners come out. I'd also like to see these more companies being able to stand on their 2 feet
Agreed.
like that. But Crytek is now just shipping out the Revic. And it's
right, and that's actually kind of where I was going with comparing the whole die and Valken thing to paintball, is you had them selling directly to end customers, which meant they were selling it to end customers for barely above what stores were paying for the parts, if not less.
Yeah.
And so therefore stores just stopped buying their product. It stopped making it to the end customers who prefer to stop at stores, and you saw the overall decline of paintball over a couple of years' time. And that whole Evite Crytek thing kind of worries me for that sake, is we saw, people don't really buy GMP anymore. And they did the exact same thing.
And GMP has some of the nicest stuff
They're
out
fantastic,
there.
And they make baller wheels for cars.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you, they do. I don't know why, but they do.
They're IR lasers that
Yeah.
totally are not legal for the United States.
But no, they made a fantastic product, and then they distributed through Evike solely, and you had the issue where Evike was and it's the same reason that we limit how much we buy from Evike, is they will sell directly to the customer for really only slightly more than they're willing to sell to the
what
stores.
they make is a lot of pennies instead of a couple quarters.
Right, exactly. So that leads us to not wanting to buy product from them, and then that product falls by the wayside. WE, GMP, and it's happened to a few companies now.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm getting is I hope we don't see a succession where people who are distributing the guns are also selling them to the end customer.
Yes.
That I think
literally like with the Crytek Evike thing.
Right, no, exactly. And I think that's where you start to see a market fall off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
I have no business major or anything here. This is purely talking from logic and from experience.
Exactly, and we notice these patterns all the time, and it's sad to see.
Right,
it really is.
But then again, the counter is companies like Z-Shot, Umarex. They're fantastic because they won't sell to the.
They're doing God's work.
Right, they won't sell to the end customer, but they bring in these really cool products from overseas and sell to stores, who then sell the end customer. I have no problem with them selling to Airsoft GI and Evike and those websites selling the end customer.
It's just promoting business all around.
Right, exactly. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's you know what I'm getting at.
So if anyone on the upper, in the upper management of these big box stores, maybe you should consider all right, okay, maybe you're making a lot of money right now, but think about it, future of Airsoft, 15, 20 years down the road, maybe by...
It's a spike now. It's like the housing market. You get a bubble.
Yeah, exactly. You'll get a bubble. And I think that if maybe we, had more companies like Umarex, Z-Shot, et cetera, I think that we would see it gradually go up. And I think that would be, it's of course not as fast as some people would like, but it's the right way to do things.
Exactly.
Things take time. Change takes time. In this world, and that's one thing that I've contemplated a lot and stuff, and even though today, we actually had this conversation a couple weeks ago about how technology expands or grows exponentially, that doesn't always apply to change and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, think about it. We're now counting up to the year 2017, plus however many years BC that we've been alive, right? And so that takes time. Change. I know this is very irrelevant, large scale.
I love your random analogy.
But it's just things take time, and I think that if people are more willing to do things the right way and be a little bit patient, even still a little bit patient is maybe 2 years difference.
Right.
And that's not a lot, and I think that it could make a huge change.
No,
a boy can dream.
But so I kind of want to move into also, with all this expansion, the technology side of Airsoft that's increasing crazy fast.
Yes.
Literally, we have guns with check engine lights now.
Yeah, actually, a comment on our Facebook, Andrew W. He said, "Fast to advance, slow to implement," and that's exactly what I was trying to say. Just in a big, annoying thing that I just said.
Exactly. But like you're saying, the last. I mean, Polar Star got introduced, 5 years ago?
I think around there, yeah.
5-6 years
like
ago. I can't remember
2011,
exactly.
I think, is when they
I think
debuted.
something like that.
Yeah.
Either way, it's, when this gun first came out, everybody was like, "Oh man, it changes airsoft. It's a whole different level of play." We had a running joke here. We said, "You buy a Polar Star, and 6 months later, you stop playing airsoft because it made it too easy."
It's a fact, really. Well, that's what happens if you play, 2 fields for your whole life.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
like
of
if
course.
you just keep doing the same thing, like I know we try to change up the field a lot, but that for me, that's what I kind of felt when I got my Polar Star. It's like I was getting kind of bored, and then I was like, all right, I want to join a team now, and then I moved up. But sadly, I do see a lot of people getting stuck.
Well, there's also the fact that, and what kind of I was getting to is, back then it was maybe 1 in 100, 1 in 200 people had a Polar Star.
Yeah.
Now you walk into a room with 50 airsofters, probably a third, if not half of them, are going to have
Absolutely,
Polar Stars.
yeah.
You go to an event like Autumn Justice or Spring Offensive, I'd say more than 50% of people have HPA systems.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And they're just the performance.
The reliability, the performance. It used to be you had to pick. It was the reliable, highly accurate or high rate of fire. Pick 2.
Yes. Yeah. The triangle.
Literally, Polar Star is just like have everything.
Have everything, and then
more reliability than any gun in existence.
And then there's like a very small little downside in the corner. It's that you have to have a tank and your gun is attached to a line.
For now.
Yeah, for now. And they're getting good. Like
crazy
their
thing.
CO2 thing. Like, geez, like just now they unveiled their CO2 thing where you charge it up through the back of the stock, and that can hold. I was watching this SHOT Show video, and Ben just casually goes, "Yeah, this can handle up to about like 900 shots or so." Like he just breezes over the fact that you can charge up your stock and shoot 900 shots.
Right.
Meanwhile, the closest competitor, which is Wolverine, you can get 200 and change out of one 12-gram CO2 cartridge.
The F1 is just stupid efficient.
Yeah, and it's like, are you serious? Like, and that's and I like I said, like Polar Star, like they take their time with everything, but they have a solid product.
Not to go too much into HPA talk at the moment.
Oh yeah, that's a fair point.
But I do want to point out, it's one of the reasons that I am the Polar Star fanboy, if you want to call me that, is a lot. We see
like you're the one who's sleeping outside Polar Star in a tent when they release.
No, I'm the one waiting for the offset F1 for 2 years.
Come on, Ben.
G&G M14 waiting on it. What was I going to say? You see a lot of airsoft companies, HPA and otherwise, who release a product, let the users beta test it, say sorry when it breaks, and then release a fixed version.
Yeah.
And say, okay, come buy this one now.
Yeah.
I give Polar Star a lot of, you know what I mean?
Oh,
I give Polar Star
exactly
a lot of respect for they won't release a product until it's basically perfect.
Yeah.
Like on the first Fusion, I have a first generation Fusion engine.
Yeah.
The only thing I changed out was I changed to the newest generation, not newest anymore at the time, FCU, because the original wire thing was
you inserted
terrible.
the wires.
So bad. It was great in a theoretical environment where you put your battery in your gun for one time ever.
Yeah.
When you're taking your battery in and out of your gun the whole time, it just didn't last.
Yeah, and actually I've seen that a lot. A lot of kids recently have been breaking their lines. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, geez, the Gen 1 FCUs would be wonderful.
Know how bad it was.
Yeah, well, they would be wonderful for that, because if they pull them out, I'll just put it back in.
Yeah, except the issue is if you pulled it out too many times,
it wouldn't catch.
They wouldn't catch anymore, and you kind of just had to tape it in.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
I eventually gave up on that. What?
Actually, another comment from Andrew W. He said, "Hey, that just means people are getting modded starters, or people get modding starters."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but, nothing wrong with that at all.
But again, going back to the innovation side of things, we've seen the new gate MOSFET. As I said, it literally has check engine lights.
Yeah,
which is
crazy.
The funniest thing ever when Airsoft has check engine lights. But with this, you can literally shoot your gun a whole while, go to a game, play a couple weekends, and then plug your gun into a computer, and it'll tell you if it had any faults since the last time you reset it. It might say, oh, there was this weird voltage spike, or oh, you had a jam at this point.
Yeah, or the motor overspun.
Yeah, and it'll store the faults even if you unplug the battery. It stores it in flash for people who know what that means.
Yeah,
and it'll store it until you clear the codes. And it also means that if you're shooting your gun, you're like, oh, why is it not working? Rather than you tearing your whole gun apart to figure it out, which with MOSFETs can be a bit of a headache.
Oh yeah.
Plug this in the computer and be like, Oh, the battery's dead.
Yeah,
The sensor's not working.
Exactly, and it may not be the exact issue, but maybe if you have a little bit of intuition, like maybe like your motor is overspinning, and that's why you're getting inconsistent FPS, or your piston is in a weird spot, and you're like, oh well, and that'll maybe help you to narrow that down, which is something you didn't have before.
Exactly.
You kind of just had to like put it together, like look at it, and really just
it literally
have
got
the
to
touch.
the point, and people kind of laughed. James laughed at this for a while when he first started working. Is it gets to a point where you can fire a gun a few times and hear it.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, you kind of just
have
know.
to get to that point.
Yeah, and there's really that in between point is just misery.
A lot of mistakes it takes to get to that.
Yeah,
point.
and I wish more people would be willing to make the mistakes.
Well, to be fair, is we had the opportunity here to.
That is true. And even when I didn't
see 8,000 different types of guns.
Yeah, and even before I really got on board here, not many people have an extreme airsoft down their road.
Right.
Where I had this place I didn't even know that this place was 20 minutes down my road until I already had all my gear. And
of course.
Yeah, I was like fully kitted out, and I was just playing with my friends, and I'm like, there's a place dedicated for this.
Okay.
And so that's when I really started to die. Like I was already dabbling in the teching area, but I wasn't able to really do it until I was able to get parts from here.
Right.
But what I'm saying is I see a lot of people who are unwilling to try to give it a shot, and they'd rather just throw their guns at us, and we'll fix your guns.
Actually, on that note, something that we've considered in the past is if you're watching, let us know if you'd be willing to pay probably a decent amount, to be completely fair, but for a true teching class.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, like if you guys actually wanted to learn how to bring in your own gun, take it apart, and we'll go over every single moving part.
Trust me when I say we'd rather not have to fix your guns.
Yeah, no, really, and
we don't try and find guns to fix. We're not like a mechanic shop for a car down the road. We'd rather you come in and play with your gun and leave happy rather than have to drop it off to get fixed, because I'm sure customers know, we sometimes get backlogs of 2-3 months, and it's just because there's more work coming in than can be done by a human being.
And everyone comes in, they're like, oh, you guys are the only place around that does repairs.
It's like, you can do it yourself.
It's also for a reason. Other places don't do it because repairs suck.
Yeah.
Like it's a mental drain on the people that are in that department.
Drain.
It's a time drain. And then, we get, our business looks bad because of that. And this is kind of tying into the future of Airsoft, where, like if you guys are, if people aren't willing to learn how to work on their own guns, then there's just gonna it's gonna kind of go into the corporate, where in this instance we're the corporate, where we're the only place that knows how to fix these things, and it'll just make life even harder for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I actually was surprised that I was able to tie it into the theme, but you guys really I always encourage, like if you ask me a dumb question, at the counter, I'll probably answer with a question and make you think about it. And I'm doing it kind of because it's fun to be a dick. But at the same point, also, I really just want you to learn. I'm not doing it, just to piss you off. I'm doing it because
unless you have a double trigger.
Yeah, unless you have a double trigger, then I hate you and fantasize about your death. Go play paintball. But
well, that was a bit of it.
That escalated quickly. but seriously, I always, if anyone has any questions about how to make something work and how they can personally improve upon something, I'll spend hours and talk to you about it. I'm all for spreading the knowledge.
Well, one of my favorite people is when they come in and they say, and we're going to go back to topic in a moment, is when someone comes in, they go, okay, I have $400, how do I make this gun awesome? That's my favorite. Because I'm literally going, you want this motor and this gear set and this piston.
Yeah, and I'll explain it all to them too.
Yeah. It's fun to build. But returning to the topic, speaking of innovation, what's something that either you see coming down the pipeline that you're excited for, technology-wise in Airsoft, or something that you hope comes out soon?
Say, there's a couple
quadcopters. No.
Yeah, actually,
affordable tactical quadcopters.
Actually, that'd be on my list. I know it's stupid.
But thing I'm developing.
Yeah, well, you can. This is gonna get really badly political. Put on your Obama mask and control your drone, and just rape kids from spawn. I'm sorry, that was inappropriate. But I think that would actually be really cool. To see a drone where you could drop it's.
Well, I would even just want a reconnaissance.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that.
Fixed wing just floats around. Because that's the thing, you get 30 minutes flight time. Is that even practical?
The what? I'm
30
sorry?
minutes of flight time out of a normal quadcopter. Is that even practical?
I mean, if you're smart, you have a couple batteries.
But still, in a several day event.
Yeah, if that's like your thing, if you are the guy with the drone,
right?
Like,
I want something I can throw out of my backpack, chuck into the air, and say, okay, give me 2 hours of heads up, you know?
Yeah.
Or something that can be like following me as I go to spawn. I mean, follow me as I go to town. But on a realistic,
that's cool.
What's that?
Actually, well, on at the drones, the Xiro Explorer, Andrew W is dominating my Facebook comments, but he's got some excellent suggestions. This one looks like it retails around that $300 range. It's 4 fixed wings on a where it's quadcopter setup. And that looks like it's kind of like the what we have. It's like unique, but it looks like a bit more affordable one for Airsoft. And I think it would be kind of cool to be. I mean, have you seen what ISIS has been doing with their bombs? They're literally using products like this, and they're strapping bombs to it, using the camera, and just.
Well, it's like my big whole thing is you're still limited to a 30-minute flight time with that. What I'm really looking for is something with
the
what I'm
longer.
developing is my master's research, basically, is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, but I'm sure you have to find a good weight ratio and for battery, because at that point it's kind of like with rockets.
Oh no, what I'm developing is a large scale concept.
Yes,
but that could be. I don't want to go too much into it, but either way.
Yeah. It's protected, it's secret.
Basically,
yeah.
But continuing with what I was saying, on a realistic side, what kind of innovations are you looking forward to or hoping for in the next few years in Airsoft?
So one thing that I think is cool, and I'm kind of seeing it come out every here and there, are electric.
While you talk about that real quick, I'm A, going to grab the thing for a POC demo because we forgot to bring it. And B, I'm going to grab a sip of water.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Bye. So I guess I'm going to be soloing this. Oh, don't.
That's a chair. I'll be right back.
Almost ate shit on his way out. So this is the part of the podcast where I lift up my shirt and rub my nipples. God, this is really weird since I'm alone. Okay. Anyways, so God. All right. This is interesting for me, and I've done this before too. I'm just talking aloud. Geez, I'm probably going insane by now. Anyway, so one thing that I think is really cool that maybe you guys have seen is our these open bolt or closed, basically reciprocating bolt electric recoil guns. And your normal electric recoil guns usually they're just a normal version 2 gearbox with a kind of an assembly on top of it that kind of rotates back and forth to give you like that kind of recoil. But what I've seen, I forget the name of it, and if I remember it, I'll make sure that that Des will pull it up. But it's actually it's expensive. I mean, it's like $2,700. But basically, what it is it's kind of like a Sistema where it has like the lower, it has a split kind of gearbox system where the lower is your gear set, and then above is this fully reciprocating bolt, and it moves, and it's like it's a couple pound bolt. Well, first of all, I just had a good solid 30 seconds where I went slightly insane.
Only 30 seconds?
You left and I said, this part where I rubbed my nipples, and then I kind of got caught up in how ridiculous what I just said was. And then I just kind of sat there and was like, oh man, this is bad. Anyways, moving on. You can rewatch it. It's very embarrassing, extraordinarily embarrassing. Yep, and we're pretty sure we lost a couple of viewers. But what I was talking about...
Because I left.
Yes, yeah, right, of course. But what I'm getting at is... actually, Jesse said... hi, Jesse. Hi, James. But I think that's it. Andrew W. is just my savior today. Is it the Quake Recoil Shock? And basically what it is it's kind of like a Sistema in that it's a split gearbox design. The upper and the lower are their 2 different components. And so the lower is like the gear system, and then the upper is this fully reciprocating bolt.
Really?
And it moves like it's got, like, I've seen videos, and the guy who's holding it with one hand, like, it's moving around in his hand.
I've always wanted something like that.
Yeah,
I've thought of something.
It looks like there's going to be. It looks like a very high stress system. Very high impact. So like I don't know how long it'll last. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because the Daytona gun is nice because you have that HPA powering it, so that's a consistent source.
True.
But when you're powering it with a battery and gears, I just feel like there's more things to go wrong in that system.
Right.
But is it the way? Actually, no. It is not the Quake Recoil Shock. That's something that Wolverine is designing, and that's also very interesting. but I forget what it is, and if I remember it, I'll make sure that I bring it up. But it's about $2,700 for this AEG. I know that you guys, if you watch the podcast, you're no stranger to dumb expensive guns, but it is very cool.
So actually, on that note, I did have an idea a few months back, and anybody's welcome to build this because I don't have any intention of it. Is be a really, really inexpensive, cool way to make a HPA conversion kit for a gun. Is you use in place of the motor, you have a pneumatically driven motor, where literally you just have an HPA line and something that looks like a motor that plugs into a motor grip on an M4 and screws in place, and when you pull the trigger, it just like opens a valve.
That's interesting, huh? That'd be kind of cool. Like the motor kind of powers everything out.
Yeah, no, it's a regular gearbox, but you don't have to worry about batteries anymore.
That's pretty cool.
And then you can adjust like the RPM of the motor and all that kind of stuff.
It's kind of like it'll kind of be like a little turbo, right? With like your hot side and your inside.
Yeah, you have a HPA powered motor, so it's a thing.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. That's actually, geez, I don't know.
It could be like a $50, like maybe a $50 to $100 HPA conversion kit.
That's pretty cool, actually. That's really cool. Actually, Jessie commented, she's a little late to the party, but Des, what are you wearing, and why is she intrigued about that?
I'll tell you, it smells like smoke, but we'll go well, actually, it's a good time to go into it.
Actually, yes, correct, Andrew. So an electric solenoid valve. So it would technically be battery powered, or unless you were thinking of a 100% mechanical.
A little different, but I have ideas on how to do it, but I'm not going to go. I'd spend the next hour on it.
Yeah.
But actually, this would be a good time to move into our on target or bullseye picks, whatever we call it. I'm so bad at things. And what we're going to look at today is actually these Enola Gay smoke grenades. They are
gay.
Here, the podcast of maturity. So no, these things are actually really great. They come in two sizes. This one is the burst.
I don't know. Let me see. You can tell.
Well, this is the small one. I don't remember the names.
So there's like the EG. Not the EG18s. There's like the WP14s or something. There's the Burst and the EG18Xs.
That's right. Okay, yeah.
And so the WP or whatever it is, the first one I mentioned, those ones, if you notice right here, I'll try to hold it up. Basically what it is there's two outlets for smoke to be released from. The first one is more of a signaling one that has a much longer smoke time.
Yeah.
So that when you throw, like, let's say you're at a game where there's helicopters. Yes. No. This one is the shorter burst time. So this is the burst.
You're right.
So this one is great for creating a smoke screen. The other ones aren't great. They're just, like, let's say we're utilizing drones, right?
Right.
So that would be excellent for that. But this is excellent for creating the smoke screen. Then the EG18, that's got to be a burst. I mean, that thing was only rocking for 30 seconds or so.
Oh my God! But it's the amount of smoke it puts out is absurd. And it's thick smoke. Well, my favorite thing about these is what I actually did for Spring or Autumn Justice last year. Is these are 38 millimeters in diameter, and most of the grenade launchers we shoot are 40 millimeter grenade launchers. So you take one of these and you do 2 wraps of electrical tape around the top and the bottom, and then use one of the paintball launchers from Mad Bull. It'll literally shoot this thing out of a grenade launcher like 200 feet.
Oh yeah,
call it like the poor man's the things we did a couple weeks ago. My brain's broken. This is what happens during final weeks.
What, the R2Bs?
Yeah, no, like the launchable grenades. It's like the poor man's version.
What is it? The like the ones that you get the whole assembly for.
Yeah,
right?
they launch.
Yeah. Those are the Paladins.
Yeah.
And if like a pack of 10, it's like $60. It's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, but they don't shoot smoke yet.
Yeah, but they do shoot smoke. I can't get them in yet, but I've talked about that in previous shows.
But yeah, so these are great. These aren't too expensive. This one's only $9, so it's really not a killer. The bigger one's $12, $13, something like that. I usually carry 4 or 5 with me to an outdoor event, and it's great for like you need to retreat or advance on a target. Just really easy to chuck, good shape, not too heavy, not too light. And actually, as an example, is we're going to pull up a little video of our, not this video, so ignore this currently. We're going to pull up a little video of one of the shootings.
And Andrew, you had mentioned the CM14s from Enola. I don't really know what you're talking about. I think you may be thinking of the EG18Xs, like the real, like the biggest one they sell. I know they make a couple custom ones. If you've watched Novrich, he's made a video where Enola Gay sent him like this massive cylinder that just was like clouds of smoke. Make sure that's muted, correct?
Yeah,
that's all good.
It's not playing for some reason.
Oh no,
here we go.
There it is.
So let me pause this real quick. And switch monitors. So,
but what I'm talking about, Andrew, is actually the EG18X is the one that I pull right here and show.
So you guys should be able to hear this. Hopefully you won't be getting feedback like last week. Let's make sure. I hope not. I don't think there's feedback. But as we were saying, these things put out a stupid amount of smoke really fast. Here we have the LEDs on and the main lights. They are a cold smoke, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about lighting brush on fire. However, James, they're gonna get feedback.
Yeah, no, I was just making sure.
Good.
However, if you do throw it in a dry brush, it will light it on fire. Obviously, you can see the red aura from the smoke grenade itself.
Yeah, no, it's pretty sweet. And you do see a lot of Airsoft games that don't allow that. If there hasn't been a lot of rain recently, and that's because those things will straight set everything on fire.
Oh, yeah. And so like 30 seconds to smoke, and it just blasts it out. I'll actually play it one more time just so you guys can get another look. If you actually look in the window behind us, you'll see that it's still a bit foggy, and that's from almost an hour ago now. Us lighting it off, and we've had a fan going.
Yeah, and we have an industrial fan on this field that blows hot air out.
30,000 CFM.
Yeah, like it's a big fan, like a warehouse fan, and yeah, it's still a bit smoky in there.
So how hot was that when you first set it?
It wasn't really that hot. I was more so surprised just by the initial kind of sparks that came with it. But then I've watched a ton of videos on people, and if you shake it up a bit, that kind of gets that reaction going. Yeah. And so that's all I did, and it was very. I didn't at all feel in danger throwing that or anything.
And what's really nice about the way you launch these, or the way you strike these aren't your classic like cap strike ones, which a lot of fields ban because that's a true ignition source. This one simply has a wire. Let me go back to full screen. This one simply has a wire you pull on the side of the tube, and you yank this down, and it starts the reaction. Just make sure it doesn't get caught in your gear when it's going.
Yeah. You definitely don't want to lose those caps, because if you lose the cap, that's bad.
Yeah.
And so the CM14, I still don't know what those are. I guess I'll do more research. I did Google the CM14. But I'm guessing it's a smoke grenade of sorts. Maybe you could educate us.
Throw us a link. You can throw a link in chat.
Yeah. If you throw a link into the chat, that would be fantastic. Figure everything out about that. Yeah, so that's by far our winner for the bullseye pick this year. This episode. If you've ever been to an outdoor game, you know that smoke screens actually do provide a tactical advantage.
If used correctly.
If used correctly. Otherwise, they can actually be the opposite of that. And like, because usually if someone throws a smoke grenade, you can kind of assume there's going to be some kind of big play. That's
my favorite is when someone throws a smoke when people throw a smoke grenade in the defending position, and all it does is give the offending team the chance to move up that smoke line.
Exactly. Yeah. So you really have to pick it and consider the downside. The cause of the effects.
If you're throwing a grenade, you better be moving things.
Yeah.
Goes
I would hope that would be obvious.
God. That's winning. It was one time defending the summit at FGF. And then you just pop one of these battlefield smoke things like this big. It puts out smoke for literally that thick of a smoke screen for 2 minutes straight. Like no joke. And the entire offensive team moved up because he just not that. But it happens. So I figure I'll answer the moving past that. I figure I'll answer my side of what I hope to see technology. And talking forward. And really, I like the way things have gone lately with the use of synth MOSFETs and what's that?
Okay. All right. So Andrew, he corrected himself. It is the CM75. And this actually might be what I was talking about with that Overage video, where they sent him an insane, like huge device. Because look at this. I know there's nothing for scale, but I mean, you can tell just by the label.
Yeah. That's insane.
That looks huge. So yes, to answer your question, I will absolutely be bringing those in. Yeah.
That's awesome. But as I say, so I kind of like the idea that I've seen a lot of companies go with simple MOSFET control, VSC being Crytek. VSC and Crytek being the biggest ones to do it. You have Amoebas, G&Gs doing much more advanced MOSFET systems. I'm liking seeing the introduction of electronics into your boxes at a low price point, affordable price point. I'm hoping that becomes more the norm. But on the same token, I definitely like for example, Jack. It's a $350 system. I understand that they can't be made inexpensively. It'd be nice to see a gun design HHB gun from the ground up.
Yeah.
Integrated lines. I don't mean like a tip. I mean like a true HVAC system. So something from the ground up and be wholesome to the HVAC design. You could make a more optimized pop system, a more optimized barrel system, things like that. And
apparently our mics are getting feedback and echoing on the stream.
Oops.
Did you forget something?
Yeah, I don't know why it would have done that, but that should fix it.
Okay. Hopefully it wasn't as intense as the last time.
Yeah, I'm confused why it would even happen, but whatever, doesn't matter.
Yep, let us know.
Thanks for letting us know. Exactly. I'll have to figure it out. We're getting there. Like I said, it's trying new things. It takes some time to figure it out, just like Airsoft. Exactly. But something I really want to see in Airsoft, and again, this is because I like the more tactical side of things. You remember, I'm sure. I know there's an app for it, before you guys spam the comments about that. I know there's the Battlefield app. However, most people don't want to bring their $1,000 cell phones onto a field.
Yeah.
And you still have to use network. You have to use 3G network, and if you go up to like FGF and all that kind of stuff, you have no internet, and those apps just don't work. I'd like to. Do you remember 5-6 years ago? There was that stupid handheld thing that was like $500, and it would tell you where your friends were, and all it was a screen with a GPS locator on it.
I think I know what you're talking about. I forget the full name of it.
But I don't remember the name of it, but it was stupid expensive. It was like $500 per unit. I would like to see in a very, very low cost, inexpensive system that has a transmitter. You could use XBs, and this is just my experience with electronics. Use an XB, an Arduino trinket, a little LCD screen, and a GPS receiver. It'd be like maybe $80 per unit. You sell it for like maybe $150 if you really want to make a profit, or have a good do-it-yourself kit. Something that you can literally, and I know this is like Call of Duty style, but I think it's a cool idea. Something where you can upload a Google map block to it, like a terrain
then you can
map,
see where
and have it attached to the rail system on your gun, and you can fold it out, and it'll show you where all your friends are, everyone in your squad. So
I know that exists as a standalone where it'll show you where you are on the map. That's a one that does exist.
Just a GPS system.
Yeah, yes. That's I think I forget who makes it, but yeah, that would be pretty cool though, where it can communicate with other devices around it.
Yeah, because you can set up like my drone has a 7-mile range with its transceiver. So, and if you had a whole bunch of them, they do mesh network, so they can go. If you had a whole bunch of these laid out 5 miles apart from each other, you can communicate the first to the last one because they bounce signals off of each other.
Right.
But imagine that as like on a squad level. You
That would
could
be
you could spread out.
fantastic.
You could spread out and just pop this open and be like, all right, we have the whole thing surrounded. And you would like click a button that would silently send a signal to everyone that would just flash something that says, or like could vibrate their
It
gun
says
and it
go.
would say go.
That would be pretty crazy. And
Maybe
that-
we should do that as a summer project.
Yeah, I'd take that on with tons of enthusiasm. I
Right,
think that's
right.
quite
But
quite the interesting idea.
I would love to see something truly marketed like that, and to be able to really do the tactics, the squad cohesion, or as a CO for a team, you lend one out to each of the squad leaders, and you could just have a screen sitting there and say, see where everyone is, stuff like that.
Yeah. No, that's actually really cool. Geez, I like your idea better than mine. Gee, boring electric recoil guns. Wow, that was a good idea,
I mean,
James.
again, mine's a little less airsoft related, more just
Yeah.
overall tactics, but still.
Yeah, well, that's what I like too. Like I like making the game a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm all for having more fun every time you pull the trigger, but I'm always down to see the game kind of evolve with technology,
Yeah, and that's
just like Warfare does.
right, and that's a huge benefit of there being more players now. Is
Yeah.
there's a market for this stuff. When it was, what
You and your boys in the backyard.
right is, and who's going to buy? You bought a $2,000 night vision system.
Yeah.
You probably, I could see your Durka investing $100 a person in a little
Oh
thing
yeah,
like that.
oh yeah, and I've brought up the whole drone thing, and that's been thrown around. But then ultimately, there's one guy who has to sit and spawn and operate that, and
Right.
we're very much so a team of guys, who are just like,
No,
let's
exactly,
get in it. So
exactly.
it's-
Which is
yeah.
why I'd rather have like a drone that. Imagine,
Yeah.
okay, so this is just a brief tangent. Imagine you can throw a drone and it communicates with the same device.
That'd be pretty cool. Like you can tell it to operate within this area, and it'll just kind of do its
you
own
could
thing,
you could give IR beacons to everybody on your team.
and it flashes in a pattern so it knows.
Yeah, and the
who's
drone
what.
can pick that up and say these are friendlies, these are enemies.
Jeez. Oh man, next time Des and I go to an airsoft
And
game,
this is
we're
why
just
I'm
gonna be
starting my own
fucking
company.
kitted out.
This is why I'm going
Totally.
to start my own company.
For real. Totally kitted out. That'd be crazy.
Oh god. But so then speaking of airsoft and things like drones and all of that, the other part of airsoft that we've seen a lot of in the news lately, and curious where you think it's going to end up, is the legal side of things.
Yes.
We've seen an unfortunate resurgence of airsoft in the news, more than
Negative.
yeah,
airsoft.
negative wise. Fortunately, there's been some positives here and there. Generally, when a business really reaches out to a local journalist, like there was a piece on Extreme itself recently,
Yeah.
and that was by
That was by I believe the Newport
I believe it
Mercury.
was Newport something.
Newport Mercury, I think it was. Yeah.
And then it takes a business that is willing to reach out to journalists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But where do you see, and we've seen all the bills introduced in California, Massachusetts, New York City, Chicago, regarding airsoft. And what's your opinion on those and where you kind of see things going with them? Because, there's always the things that start in California eventually make their way across the country about 5 years later. So this is fairly relevant.
Yeah. So I mean, I see this all the time. Like there's always that kind of like when Fry had an excellent couple of stories to tell when he was on the show about what happens when people do stupid things.
Yeah.
And then he said, and like he was down south, and he said, if you guys, and there are these kids in a hotel who are in full kit in like the courtyard, and he was like, guys, if someone takes a picture of what
We're
you're
done.
doing right here, I don't exist anymore down south. Like airsoft, like I can't come down there because these events don't exist.
Right.
Like, and I do see that happening, and it's really sad because the only time you really see it is when some kid pulls an airsoft gun on a cop. And you always see that a lot.
It's the worst.
And it's really it breaks my heart really, because I mean I just wish that people who purchase these would have some sort of, because like a lot of people who get these they don't know the real dangers of a gun.
The issue is a lot of people handling them are under the age of 18.
Yeah, and they don't know the real dangers of a firearm. Like, I mean, geez, when I when I get my first airsoft gun, like I come from a very military family,
Right.
and so I just had everyone from my family being like, "You do
Gotta
not know,
respect the fundamentals,
respect what you have." And
Yeah.
I see it a lot, and kids, I see it in stage, and like kids will wave their guns around, and they'll like,
Point at each other.
check it out, like let me pretend to point a gun at you, like, geez, like 10, 15 years ago, if you even pointed a toy gun at someone, they'd break your arm.
Yeah.
Like, it's just something you don't play.
Known, and that's where a lot of this is becoming an issue.
Yeah, and so I mean, really, just the way you can do things. It's kind of like NBC for a while. They did their making a difference report, and it was always lame because they put at the end, because it's the sad thing is people they're more they don't care about the nice things happening in the world, and that's why
Unfortunately, reality.
Yeah, and Jessie, and the other day she was all upset with me because she was like, I can't believe that there's so many wrongs in this world, and and she said that as
many rights you just don't hear about them.
Yeah, exactly. And she was scrolling through Facebook, and I'm like, well, there's your issue. And like, people naturally will gravitate towards, would you rather read an article about ISIS bombing 32 people or about someone who saved 5 people? You're probably going to read that article first,
Well, what's interesting, and
or you probably see that article.
This is a slight tangent, and this is just a reflection on media in itself. You heard what Facebook did a few years ago as an experiment, right?
Was it where they were targeting at-risk teens who were like
at
risk for suicide?
Risk, but they were to a 5% of their clientele, they only showed them negative posts to see if it would reflect the people, if it would reflect those persons' posts, if it would make them more negative people.
And did it?
And it did.
I absolutely would believe that.
And
yeah.
It did, which is kind of effed up, I think.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting at, is like, and Jessie was exposed to all these negative articles, like animal abuse. Then scroll down one, and the next one was ISIS, and I'm just looking at this like, God. And I've had to turn my phone off sometimes, and I have to take 6-7 hour breaks just from Facebook, just because after a while it's just like I can't take it.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is that's like what you see in Airsoft, and it's going to start affecting the community too, as you just see people who do that. As for solution, it's really hard. I think that businesses that reach out is a great start.
People need to be, I think, very proactive in the business. And I think that's kind of part of the change I was talking about in Airsoft. Is for a while, it was perfectly fine for Airsoft to kind of be in the background, be in the shadows. Like I said, it was this, you played in these backwoods that nobody knew, no one really heard about it. People hear about it now. And then if you still kind of try and respond by being quiet and in the background, it just makes people more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Paintball knew what they were doing when they became very proactive in media and all that kind of stuff 10 years ago. And paintball became just this, fun sport that was played on the side, rather than, these people are shooting gun-like things.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think Airsoft as an industry side, and this can't come just from the players, but it needs to come from the players as well, needs to reach out and show the positive sides of Airsoft.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that, they deal with PTSD kind of stuff with it. There's a lot of people that do safer weapons training with it. It gives respect of guns to younger kids.
Absolutely, and that's what I tell people when they ask what Airsoft is.
Exactly.
I say it's an excellent port for some people who suffer from PTSD. Some people, who sometimes, they don't have the ability to shoot guns because their state is basically a communist state like New York or California, and owning any sort of rifle that could be, it's just impossible.
Rifle, but
it's just impossible.
But you still do have I can't remember, is it New York where airsoft guns aren't allowed?
So New York is different because New York and New York City are like basically two different states.
Yeah, is it New York City where
New York City, if you have anything, literally anything gun related. Actually, this is an article I saw earlier this week. Is a military veteran. He was in the military for 20-something years, and he had 3 Glock 17 magazines in his car. He was pulled over in New York City for a routine traffic stop. The officer saw these magazines in his car, unloaded, no pistol in the car. He just had his magazines in his car. He's facing 21 years in jail right now. 7 years per magazine.
To be fair, were the magazines a higher capacity?
They were standard Glock 17 magazines, but he was driving through New York City, where anything gun related is basically punishable by death. And I'm sure that, you know, when they get to trial, it won't be that. But right now, the charges that he's facing are up to 21 years. 21 years for a military veteran because of those laws. And that's like, that kind of stuff is going to kill airsoft and kill all these things. And it's heartbreaking when I read these. It's just like, how can you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I think.
Who writes these laws and votes for them?
I can understand the same token. That's where I was saying industry, you know, companies like Umarex and Z-Shot and E-Bike and these big companies that have the money, to be honest, and the size to go and I don't want to say lobby because I hate the idea of lobbyists, but
yeah,
but they need to make a social presence.
Yeah, I totally
show
agree.
It's a game. Show it's a hobby.
Yeah.
Not to make light of the fact you're dealing with, you know, toy guns, but I mean, not with gun-looking things, but, you know, show that these aren't all negative.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Well, the same, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's... we're both trying to say the same thing here.
Yeah.
It's you just need to put it in a more positive light.
But on the same token, parents need to make sure that their, you know, 12-year-old kid isn't going down the street with an airsoft gun.
Exactly, yeah. And that's... I do believe that parents need to be more vigilant in their child's lives when it comes to stuff like that, you know, and that's, you know, everyone's a product of their environment and their upbringing in some way, and I see it a lot of times, like, you know, I can just tell by some kids, they're, you know, one kid acts like this, and then I usually make sense when I meet their parents. And I'm literally not even trying to call it anyone, but I've just noticed it. Some kids who are very extremely respectful, you know, they don't, like those kids that have almost military discipline, but their parents aren't even military. Their parents are very stern, and they're just overall good leaders and good parents for their children. And I wish that, and it's hard to, because you tell someone how to raise their kid and they'll come at your throat.
Right.
You know?
And to be fair, there's different ways that work, but
yeah, I really think that, and kind of like what Fry said, American change.
Starts at home.
Yeah, it starts at the dinner table. That's actually, I think, an American president said that. I forget who said that.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, I think FDR or something. But
yeah, you know, and just like I said, it's a growing hobby, and I think the community needs to understand that.
It was Kennedy that said that. I'm sorry.
Right,
yeah, sorry.
It's a growing hobby, and the community definitely needs to understand the implications that come with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we give out that whole like welcome to Airsoft thing, and I think that really kind of helps get people started in the right direction.
Yeah.
For safety, and that's why. I always say, like, don't trash on the kids. Like, I know there's a lot of snot-nosed brats or whatever you want to call it in the Airsoft community, but exactly, but they are this podcast intended, like their money, their wallets, and how they decide to spend their money within Airsoft will dictate, you know, how the community moves forward. So
and if you treat these younger Airsoft players like they're brats, like they're annoying, yada yada.
And Airsoft is just going to be full of brats.
They're going to act like that.
And then they're going to own a business, and they're going to be a freaking brat owning an Airsoft business. And it's just, no one's going to win.
It's going to become what the hobby becomes. It's the best thing you can do is take a young Airsoft player under your wing and make sure that they act responsibly and respectfully and stuff like that. And that's going to be the best for the hobby moving forward.
Yeah, and I'm more to jump on someone being disrespectful than they are for cheating in Airsoft, because cheating will exist. I mean, I know it's I always like to say it's human nature.
You want to take every advantage you can have to win. It is human nature, and that's why when someone cheats, I go like, "Come on, I'm disappointed."
Yeah, but when you're a dick about it, like, no, like, get off my field if you're gonna be a dick about it.
Attitude is you as a person. Cheating, you know, sometimes. I think we've all done it where we're in the heat of the moment, we keep charging forward, and you pause for a second and go, oh shit, I was hit like a minute ago. And it just you're in the heat of the moment.
Exactly.
And then you just call yourself out and you go back and, you know, shit happens. And that's why when someone cheats, like I said, I'm always just like, come on.
Yeah, like, you know, I expect better of yourself, but at the same time, you know, it's like, all right, I know I've done the same thing myself, you know.
Exactly.
But
just do better.
Just do better. Always try to improve.
Attitude is incredibly
It's
important.
huge, and that's an issue that we see a lot in here, with a lot of different players, adults as well. Not just kids. It's just that, like, the attitude of some of these kids and adults too. It's just it's sad because you know, like.
And though to be fair, there's a lot of younger kids, and we've seen, and it's actually one of my favorite parts about working here. You see kids come in when they're 10, 11, 12 years old.
You see them grow.
And now they're 18, 19, 20 years old, and then they're great people.
Oh, yeah.
And it's great seeing people grow. And, you know, the fact of the matter is when you have younger kids, they're going to have a different attitude than a grown adult.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, no,
but like I said, they are
awesome.
the future of Airsoft, like related to today's podcast. But
yeah, so like next time you see a kid struggling or you see him being a dick, instead of like, you know, threatening to kill him and his family, you know, maybe you should just I'm just my extremes
just kill
my extremes are just extreme. Like there's just
God.
it's 0 to 1,000 with me. Actually, Matt Delling asked me if I will take him under his wing. Matt, you will be my apprentice. My Padawan. I will teach you to be awesome, just like myself.
That reminds me, I need to
It's
print out those new things for him. I completely forgot about that.
For what to print out the new
New clips for his M2.
Oh yeah.
Whoops. Sorry, Matt.
He's gonna call
It's
you
exam
out.
week.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it is exam week for sure.
Oh god, it's almost done. But and speaking of which, we will be back on a regular schedule next week.
Yeah.
For real.
Thank you for
Thank you for being patient with us through this last few weeks of dealing with the end of semester.
It's been a crazy semester for all of us.
Yeah, it's been painful.
Cry myself to sleep just thinking about it.
Speaking of which, we might have to change our podcast days come summer.
Yes, summer you could probably expect to see a change in
There
that.
probably will be a change because we're open on gaming till 7.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, it is a bit of a problem. Yeah, and then also with we're going to be doing camps as well.
Well, yeah. So we might change the podcast, but that's at least a good month away.
Oh
Month
yeah,
or
no,
two
there's
away,
going to be plenty of time for us to figure all that stuff out. So don't be too concerned about that, guys. Nice thing is this is the internet, so I always don't feel bad. When I do feel bad, but I always don't feel too bad about having to reschedule immediately. You know, like
I mean, you can always watch it.
yeah, it's the internet. It's not like you drove 4 hours to be here just to find out that it got changed or something.
Yeah. Sorry for the last minute changes. That was late. On
Yeah.
That note, what was I going to say? There's one more thing I wanted to add about just where I see Airsoft going.
Oh, we have viewers who are waiting for your input. Come on, Des.
Do you have anything to add? Anything more to add about where you?
What's up, David? How you doing? How was Op 34?
Yeah. What do you hope to see? You know, we got about 15 minutes left. What do you hope to see in the long run? 10 years from now, in Airsoft, in terms of, just the overall basic industry.
The overall basic industry. Well, kind of tying back to what we were talking about before, with the whole, companies being able to stand on their own 2 legs.
Mm-hmm.
Everything just have to, like, you receive your guns from overseas. Hopefully, we can see them being produced in America.
I was going to say that's one of the biggest things I hope to see is more American manufacturers.
Yeah, Polar Star is just
the biggest reason is the one U.S. manufacturer is the best thing in Airsoft.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, America is murdering it in terms of innovation.
It's unfortunately very expensive.
Yeah, and that's why the Polar Star. I mean, if the Polar Star was made overseas, I'm sure you would see it a couple $100 less.
Falcon V12.
Yeah, exactly. My point exactly.
Which is the Polar Star manufactured in China, basically.
Yeah, which is
unfortunately
just
quality control comes.
Yeah, which is just the eyesore in our HBA corner, in our HBA case. I mean, it works.
It gets the job done.
It gets the job
just
done,
not as well.
but just not as well. Just
it's like hiring the contractor, or hiring his apprentice.
Yeah, exactly.
The apprentice will get the job done.
Yeah, for cheaper, but it's not the same quality. And so that's one thing that I would love to see is more United States-based manufacturers and companies in total.
And I hate, and honestly, with the current administration, I think the window is open for that to happen.
I do think so. I mean, Trump has really come out with this whole business. I mean, he's a businessman. That's how he sold himself in his campaign. So I mean, I know it takes time. Change takes time. He just finished.
We're not trying to be political here.
Yeah.
We're not saying either way, but fact of the matter is,
I think that it could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone is watching who wants to start up their own business of that sort, I guess now's the time.
We've seen some things too. Like there's been the Hailstorm BBs. Those were sold out of New Hampshire.
Yep.
We see the company that makes the again, I forgot the name, where they take real barrels and mill them out for airsoft.
I think those are Penyang barrels.
I think
even though it
American,
sounds very
correct?
non-American.
I believe those are American. But just like even just a regular AEG produced fully in America, I think could have fantastic implications.
So it's Penyang Tactical, and they are the one-piece barrel system, stainless steel. And you can continue talking. I'm just reading up on them to make sure that they are American.
And even with a gearbox,
USA made product.
Awesome.
And that's why they are. Sorry to interrupt you a million times.
You can keep talking.
That's why they are $180.
That's actually less
but
than
I mean,
originally.
But I mean, for a solid piece of.
I paid $180 for my PEI barrel.
Exactly. Yeah. From Japan.
Right. So I might need to invest in one of these. I'll just build another upper.
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to kind of bring one in and check it out. So that's something that we can see.
Do that on a 416 upper, or do I do that on an M16?
I would try it on the M16 because that kind of goes with the whole Systema thing. Why their barrels are thicker is to reduce the vibration. Yeah. Kind of the same thing.
I might have to do that.
Great and wet.
I might. What?
No, Op 34 was great and wet. That's what I heard. It was
wet.
Quite the rainy weekend there.
A lot of rain. I went racing on Sunday. Thank God the weather was beautiful.
Yeah, right?
I should have come.
I was working and then I was doing a project for ISE where I was carrying three other people on my back.
That's an experience.
Yep.
But what was I going to say is, we look at, example, talking of future Airsoft, we've seen some of this with the changes in MOSFETs and stuff like that. The gearbox, the basic design of the gearbox has been around since the mid-90s with almost no change.
Yeah, version 1 by Tokimura in 1995, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And, you're talking about 22 years this product has existed nearly unchanged. In the last year, we've seen some computerized stuff thrown at it to try and make it better.
Yeah.
I'd love to see someone step back
and just start from zero.
Start from zero with, almost someone who has
you have the dimensions of a gun, the shell of a gun,
and someone that has almost no idea of how an airsoft gun works, because that's the issue. Is we'll have tunnel vision because we know how an airsoft gun works, and see what a fresh engineer designed for manufacturer comes up with.
I think that'd be cool.
Because really, the only thing it has to do is move a nozzle and push air down a barrel.
Yeah. And
that's your only restriction, and fit in this body to do it. And I think it's time that someone really steps back and just does that clean. Think about you could have because perfect example. One of the biggest issues with the current AEG system is that it has a limited reservoir of air, and therefore it can only shoot up to about a 450 millimeter barrel.
Yeah, the AEGs with the cylinder.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Imagine something that maybe had a shorter cycle distance, so it could have higher rate of fire, more consistency, or a longer cycle, something like that. Something that used the buffer tube, kind of like the recoil guns do, but you have a bigger cycle of air. You could do it with less mass, something like that. I'd like to see someone really step back and say, here's your gun, make it work. Because 99.9% of the time, your gun ends up having a buffer tube on it.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's like unused space at this point.
Yeah, right? That's where your battery and other junk goes.
Right, is I'd rather have some kind of motor in the buffer tube and be able to put real steel grips on.
That'd be neat.
Because I don't like the thickness of
airsoft grips. Yeah, they're just like... Ugh.
Like, if you pick up a real AR grip, it's so much more comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
So make something like that, like where you have, and that's why the Systema motors are so much, because they're designed to be this like weird flat.
Yeah, because you can fit it into a regular. That's why I love just holding.
But imagine an AEG that you could just put a regular grip on and not have to think about it.
That would be wonderful.
But there's ways to do that. You could use the buffer tube. You could like put a motor in the buffer tube. But this is me just spitballing ideas. But either way, things I would like to see in Airsoft is a
completely redesigned system.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Maybe something a little more reliable too. Fact of the matter is the current system allows for gear thickness of only this, and they don't.
Oh yeah, sorry, I do apologize. The conversation isn't boring. I'm just tired. I've been studying all day.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Pretty burnt out, but
hence why I finished
right.
In about 2
you already
seconds.
Finished it? Jeez.
But yeah, and with only about 7-8 minutes left, we should probably go back to our our announcements. Wrap up the stream here. If you guys have any questions while we're doing that, feel free to throw them in chat, and we'll answer them as we're finishing up the stream. And I just want to remind everyone, is like we were talking about the whole future of Airsoft and how it's looked at globally is, once again, if you were watching the beginning stream, you'll have seen is Facebook and Instagram decided that they don't like anything that has anything that's shaped like a gun. You could probably shoot a Pop-Tart into the shape of a gun and it'd be
actually
it'd be fake.
I'm sure. Are you basing that off of an article?
Yes.
Yep, that was a thing.
Yes,
Third grade student was suspended.
Yep.
For a Pop-Tart shaped gun.
A Pop-Tart shape.
I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm just picturing.
It's a Pop-Tart. Actually, well, you know what? Facebook would let you boost that because it doesn't look like a gun. Fuck you, Facebook.
As we stream onto your platform.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? They won't even let us boost Nerf events.
Yeah, they not even Nerf
because the Nerf events are at a place that sells toy guns.
Yeah, we just can't win. We can't win.
So if you're watching this and you have someone who might be interested in Nerf or any of the other things we post, just do us a favor. Just click share on the post and let your other Airsoft buddies know, and or Nerf buddies know maybe.
Yeah, right.
And come down and have fun. As the more public eyes we can get on our stuff like that, the more fun the events will be because there'll be more people here for it.
Yeah, exactly. More people will see us in the good light.
We are going to finally, truly start our Thursday videos.
Yes.
On YouTube. It's finally happening.
We're getting a very nice camera.
But it'll be in a week or two.
Yep. We have a really nice camera, so expect to see some very high quality reviews, product spotlights, stuff like that from us. It should be really nice.
On that note, earlier, like James mentioned, what's up, Chris? But
I haven't seen this huge.
Chris,
we're also on a live
we're
podcast.
On a live cast. Sorry about that, guys. But on that note is, as we mentioned, we're going to be doing a email chain coming up soon. And let us know if you guys would be interested in being part of that. That way you'll know if our events are coming up, you'll know our sales, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And just like I said, let us know. And I assume this will be an opt-in kind of thing.
Well, what we're going to be doing is when you come in, we're going to start just taking your email no matter what. And then we're going to start sending out emails, and then from there you'll have a chance to unsubscribe from them.
Okay.
And then when we take your email down, we'll just ask you, look, we have a live audience.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Actually, come on in, Chris. We got 5 minutes left.
We got
just
5 minutes
over,
left. Yeah. Come right here.
I
don't play to this stink.
This is our buddy Chris. He's been playing Airsoft with me for 8 years.
7 or 8 years.
7 or 8 years. Yeah, come on a little bit more so you're in print. He will be playing Recon with me at Spring Offensive because damn butt.
Not me.
Because Dan Butt sucks and doesn't remember to ask for days off.
Well, the thing is, it's not even that. It's just the fact that
we
have staff to work the store. That's what the original issue was.
Right.
We didn't have staff, and now we do have staff. But
being a manager.
Yeah, but being a manager, Dan and I aren't going, and we have to hold down the fort at the store. So sadly, I'm not going to be going.
Autumn Justice.
I'm going to.
You're going to run Recon.
Yes, I'm going to run Recon.
Yes. So yeah, this upcoming event's going to be me, Chris, and our friend Jake Blyer as well. And if you guys are at Spring Offensive, you'll I'm sure catch us there, or maybe not, because we'll be playing Recon and we'll be stealthy as fuck. You might just see a pellet to the face.
Yeah. But for more immediate upcoming events, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, May 7th, that's this Sunday, is Operation War Games. It is a simulation of a simulation. Make sure you pre-register online. I believe Friday night is when that link is going to go dead to save $5 by pre-registering. That's www.extremeairsoft.ri/upcoming events. Make sure you get to that. I think Des is about to go show you guys how to do that.
The link is also in the description on YouTube. So if you're watching on Facebook, obviously you can find our page because you're probably on it.
Yes.
But if you're on YouTube, the link's right there. And you simply click this button, fill out this section right here. Or, so that's how you pre-register, and you want to do that if there's people you want to play with, as in be on the same team and all that. And on the same token this is the event page on Facebook. So this is where we post most of our updates and other things like that. Ignore that top section. So we'll be posting our updates here, and you can see the description. Again, there's a link right to it right here. If I pull this up, brings me eventually right to the page. And this is, team descriptions, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, join on in, have fun. I'm sure to be a great event, not something you want to miss.
Yeah. Other than that, that's just about all I have for announcements. Like I said, those Thursday videos are going to be coming back up. Those will be really cool. Other than that,
yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in once again, dealing with our crazy college, not teenage, 20-year-old schedule. That's right, I'm not a teenager anymore.
I'm 25 now. I'm halfway to 30.
Jeez, not talking
I can
about
rent
that.
a car. I can rent a car, nice and cheap now.
Yeah, right.
But what was I gonna say? Is next week we're gonna be going through all the different HPA systems, the pros and cons of them, our opinions of them. I've seen a lot of people ask in the chat what we think of various HPA systems. So if it's something you're interested in, something you are planning on upgrading to in the future, definitely tune in next week, because I was one of the first people in New England to have a Polar Star. James has had just about every HPA system out there.
Yep.
And, we sell them all in the store. We all have a ton of experience with them. And yeah, we'll be dropping some knowledge next week.
Oh yeah, it's just going to be straight brains, just moving around. I don't really know a way to describe that in words for those of you who don't watch the video. So just think of it as the noise and brains and knowledge and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I sound like a dumbass right now.
Just right now.
Just right now,
yeah.
Okay. You wouldn't believe it if I told you I'm studying mechanical engineering, right?
Probably not. But with that, guys, we wish you a good week.
Yes.
If you are in your finals week like us, good luck on your finals.
Very good.
And and enjoy the rest of the school year.
Yes, enjoy the rest of it.
But we'll see you next week. We always love doing this. Hope you guys enjoy watching the streams as well. So, see you later.
See you guys later.